Good afternoon and welcome to our midday briefing. Apologies for the delay. It's really a busy day. And before starting to take your questions, let me present the President's agenda for this week. You will have seen that President von der Leyen has just returned from Washington this morning. As we speak, she is participating in a virtual meeting of the Coalition of the Willing. And following this call, she will participate in a video conference of the members of the European Council. And tomorrow, President von der Leyen will chair a virtual meeting of the College of Commissioners, where she will debrief commissioners on yesterday's meetings in Washington, as well as on today's conference with members of the European Council. And this is all for the agenda of the President. We can now take your questions. Go ahead, Camille.
Hi, Camille Condessus from AFP. There's been a lot of talk about security guarantees recently. Could you possibly share your understanding on what exact security guarantees the United States is willing to provide? And there's been a bit of talks about U.S. boots on the ground. Do you have any understanding that that could be the case? Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the question. Indeed, strong security guarantees was one of the topics that was discussed at yesterday's meeting. Just 1 second, apologies before I continue with my reply. There seems to be an issue with EBS. I don't know if colleagues can sort it out. In any case, otherwise it will be shown later. Apologies. We continue while we sort out the technicalities. So, yes, security guarantees was one of the topics discussed yesterday in the meeting. Overall, I can say that this was actually a very good series of meetings that the President has had in the past few days. As you know, it started on Sunday, following the bilateral with President Zelenskyy. She has participated to a call of the Coalition of the Willing. This was followed yesterday in Washington by a preparatory meeting with European leaders and President Zelenskyy, and then with a meeting, as you all know, with EU leaders Zelenskyy and President Trump. One of the messages that we were saying that they have discussed is strong security guarantees that have to focus first and foremost on strengthening the Ukrainian army. The President has been very clear on this also in her remarks on Sunday at the press conference she has had with President Zelenskyy. Also, the President has welcomed the commitment by the United States to participate to these security guarantees. The President has mentioned herself on Sunday the fact that it could be an Article 5-like security guarantees that we will be looking into. And she has also confirmed that the EU is, of course, already contributing to this, also by continuing to strengthen the Ukrainian armed forces and at the same time strengthening European defense. At this stage, we don't have specific messages on what these security guarantees would look like. What I can say is that the teams will continue to work on the details of these security guarantees also in the coming weeks. This includes teams from the United States, from the European countries that were represented at the meeting, and of course also with Commission representatives, and then we will have to take it from there. Is it on this? Go ahead. In the meantime, I am reassured by colleagues that they're seeing us fine online. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Julia Kaiser, German Radio IRD. So yesterday, German Chancellor Merz said that if there is a meeting between Zelenskyy and Putin, we would all prepare this meeting all together. Can you maybe give already some information about what that preparation might look like?
Thanks. First, allow me to say that in the past, President Putin had refused a meeting with President Zelenskyy, so of course we welcome that he has now changed his mind and has told President Trump that he would be willing to participate to such a meeting. At this stage, we cannot have, we don't have specific information on the formats or timings of this meeting. Of course, from our side, we will continue to work, as we have been doing so far, with our European partners, with President Zelenskyy and President Trump, to prepare it in the best way possible. You can really see that there's constant interactions between all these leaders, be it at technical level, at all stages, and be it at leaders level as well. The meetings of yesterday were a part of a very long process that had led to them. It was prepared in weeks of discussions, also among leaders. We had many calls of the coalition of the willing, as well as with President Zelenskyy and contacts with President Trump and his administration. So I cannot share a specific format in which these preparations will happen, but of course we will continue to work very, very closely with our partners. Our objective is to make all possible efforts that can bring to meaningful negotiations for a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. We have not spared any effort so far in doing so, and we will continue with this approach also in the future, of course. Go ahead.
Is there any clarity on the location?
You need to wait for your microphone to be read. I think the colleague behind, yes, perfect, thank you.
Is there any clarity on possible locations for this trilateral?
No, as I said, the details of it are yet to be agreed, so we will have to be waiting for those. Go ahead, yes, thanks.
Yeah, Raphael Zwallen, Swiss News Agency. I have a question going into the same direction. President Macron said he can imagine Geneva as a place for this meeting. Would you welcome Geneva for this meeting?
Look, it's really not for us to welcome locations for the meeting. I think what matters for us is that the meeting takes place as an important step in a process that can lead to a just a lasting peace. And this is why I was welcoming the fact that President Putin has changed his mind on this. And then it will be for the parties to agree on a location that they consider adequate for this meeting. Go ahead, yes.
Thank you. Gina Smilik with the New York Times. You mentioned that there are going to be future discussions and continued discussions about the security guarantees. I wonder, do you expect that time frame to look like coming days or coming weeks? How quickly will those conversations happen? And I wonder if there are any, at a leader's level, if there are any conversations planned between the Americans and the Europeans when it comes to those security guarantees.
Thanks. I think that from our side there is the intention to work as quickly as possible on any agreement that can bring just and lasting peace for Ukraine. So as I was saying, I believe that technical works will continue in the coming days and weeks on the key topic of security guarantees. We don't have a specific time frame on it. Exchanges will continue at technical level. Leaders level, I don't have a meeting to announce yet with the US administration. Among European partners, you see that just now, as we speak, the coalition of the willing is meeting also with the international partners, and this will be followed by a UCO with all European countries prepared to do their part in this topic. Then we will have to also see how negotiations progress. So, of course, this is all preparatory work that will become of even greater relevance once this bilateral meeting takes place. Other questions on this, and then I will go online. David, yes, go ahead.
David Price, Your Democracy, and Schumer.info. If the European Commission is going to act as a peacemaker in this process, and we've had the Russians objecting to any expansion of NATO over the last 30 years pretty consistently, I wonder, can you tell us if there are any contacts with the Russian government about how the security guarantees can be formulated? Have there been any contacts with Mr. Putin, for example, or other officials?
Thanks. I think it's well known that President Trump has been in contact with President Putin and discussed a number of topics, including security guarantees. Now the idea is to have a meeting at leaders level among Russia and Ukraine to discuss these key topics. You were speaking about NATO. Our position on NATO membership is extremely clear, as well as on the membership to the European Union. These are matters that can only be for Ukraine to decide upon as a sovereign country, and we continue to stand by this view on the matter. Yes, other questions? Go ahead. Yes, and then I will take the two colleagues that are connected from remote.
Hi, so Chris Powers from Euractiv. I'm wondering if in the Oval Office meeting last night, EU membership was discussed at all as a potential type of security guarantee and accelerating it in particular. Likewise, the Commission President spoke very passionately before going in about the fate of Ukrainian children as a mother and grandmother, I think she said. Was there any follow-up on this in the Oval, anything specific in play that would maybe bring Ukrainian children home from Russia? Thank you.
I think I'll take it from the second question you asked. Absolutely, the matter of abducted children is of great importance to the President. She has been vocal about it herself. The matter has been discussed with President Trump during the meeting yesterday. President Trump is also highly engaged on the topic. His wife Melania has sent a letter to Putin on this matter, and I believe that yesterday also the First Lady of Ukraine has had an exchange with the First Lady of the United States on this topic. There was actually an exchange of posts between President Trump and President von der Leyen late last night on social media, so I can refer you also to this specifically on this topic. President Trump said that the President von der Leyen and him have been discussing the massive worldwide problem of missing children. This is likewise a big subject with my wife Melania. It is a subject at the top of all lists, and the world will work together to solve it, hopefully bringing them home to their families. And the President has reiterated that the human cost of this war must end, and that means every single Ukrainian child abducted by Russia must be returned to their families. She has also thanked President Trump for his clear commitment yesterday to ensure that these children are reunited to their loved ones. So I believe that there's really an across-the-board intention to work on this matter as a topic of priority among the others, but absolutely at the top of the lists of matters to be worked upon and to ensure that these children can return home. On the first question, do you mind repeating? Yes. It was EU enlargement.
Yep.
I do not have information of the topic being discussed specifically yesterday. Our view on this matter, as I was saying, is very clear. This is a matter for Ukraine and Ukraine only to decide upon. From our side, our commitment to continuing with the enlargement process to Ukraine is absolute. We have been working with the Ukrainians for years now on this process. They have been making incredible progress on respecting the commitments that are necessary to open the various clusters. We have a proposal with the Council to open Cluster 1 of the negotiations, and now it's for the Member States to bring this forward. But of course, our view is clear. Ukraine is ready to open these negotiations. I will take the questions from remote. Valentina, and then Jorik.
Hello, Valentina Vasilyeva, TVP Votak. My question is about sanctions. So you mentioned earlier that the European Union is preparing 19th package of sanctions. Do you connect this with potential peace talks? Let's say, can we imagine that if bilateral meeting between Putin and Zelenskyy will go well, and then it will be trilateral meeting, European Union will consider that 19th package of sanctions is not necessary anymore? Do you connect these two things?
Thanks. I believe that the President has been clear on Sunday herself on sanctions. She has said, and I'm quoting her, as long as the bloodshed in Ukraine continues, Europe will maintain diplomatic and, in particular, economic pressure on Russia. We will continue to strengthen sanctions. We have adopted 18 packages so far, and we are advancing preparations for the 19th. She has also added that this 19th package of sanction will be presented in early September. So our view on this matter is clear. Sanctions are working. They are biting into Russia's economy. We need to continue to maintain absolute pressure on Russia to end its war of aggression. Sanctions have a double effect of limiting Russia's possibility to wage war against Ukraine, and at the same time to push Putin to come at the negotiating table. And we see that this is working. Sanctions that were maintaining pressure on Russia was indeed one of the topics discussed also at yesterday's meeting. Europe will continue to maintain this pressure until we have a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Jorik from Remote.
Thanks. I had a similar question. Wouldn't those sanctions wouldn't they be counterproductive when there is peace talks or a chance to have peace talks?
If Russia does not want to have more sanctions imposed on the country, it simply has to stop its war of aggression against Ukraine. Until that moment, until there is a bloodshed in Ukraine, Europe will maintain its economic pressure on Russia. Other questions on this matter? Go ahead.
Hello, Umberto Bacchi from AFP. Just quickly on the possible bilateral between Zelenskyy and Putin. Russia said that it needs to be prepared very thoroughly, which might mean that it might take some time to put it in place. What is the time frame that you think is acceptable for this meeting to happen, or when would you like to see it happen, let's say? And secondly, just if you could reiterate your position on a ceasefire, is this still something we are pushing for as such? Thank you.
Thanks. Let's say that until these last few days, Russia had given no sign of want to initiate peace talks with Ukraine. So any progress that can bring to meaningful negotiations for the just and lasting peace that we hope and we work for Ukraine is welcomed. I was saying that we welcome the fact that President Putin has now changed his mind on bilateral talks with President Zelenskyy. We don't have a specific time frame in mind. The parties are discussing on the organization. At the same time, as I was saying, we continue with the same work and the same efforts that we have carried out in the past 2.5 years. So sanctions, of course, as we were saying, but also support to Ukraine in all possible forms, to the administration, military, to the population, etc. And we also, at the same time, continue to strengthen our own defense forces while we work with our partners on building security guarantees that can protect the vital security interests of Europe and Ukraine. So our agenda does not change. We continue with the work, and then any step that can bring to negotiations on a just and lasting peace is welcome. Vitali from... one second, David, because I have other questions from Remote. Vitali, is it on this topic? Apologies, you had a second question, or I answered already. Ceasefire. Sorry, Vitali. You see, it's been long days and I forget questions. So I think on the ceasefire, the President has expressed her views on Sunday as well. She has said that she does not consider the term to be so important, and what is important is that the killing must stop. This is also what she has said yesterday in her opening remarks at the round table with President Trump. The killing must stop. This is the most important part. Whether we call it a ceasefire or a peace deal is not that relevant. It's the effect that counts, and is that no more lives are wasted to this absurd war. Vitali, now we can go to you.
Thank you. Vitaly Sizov, Freedom TV channel, Ukraine. Maybe you already answered this question, but are you going to participate in these trilateral meetings, possible meetings, maybe in form like you participate in this meeting with Donald Trump in preparation, and who will present the position of EU during this negotiation? Bilateral, trilateral, who Zelenskyy will present the position of EU and security concern of EU. Thank you.
Thanks. As I said before, I think it's really too early to speculate on possible formats of these meetings and participation, so I'm not going to comment on that. Let me just remind you that we coordinate constantly with our partners. European positions and views are very well known to the Ukrainians, are very well known to the US administration as well. These constant contacts continue and will continue also in the future. Then for the formats of the various meetings, we will need to see once we are there. It's too early to say. Valentina, still on this topic. And then I return to the press room.
Yes, thank you so much. I just would like to ask this thing. Seems to be that Donald Trump believes that Vladimir Putin is kind of ready to peace talks and ready to stop this war. Does Ursula von der Leyen share the same position? Does she believe, and like representatives of European Union believe, that Vladimir Putin is really would like to end this war?
The President has not been in contact herself with President Putin. So far, President Putin has refused this meeting with President Zelenskyy. It is, in the words of the Russian administration, as well as what President Trump has reported from the call he has had yesterday with President Putin while the European leaders and President Zelenskyy were at the White House, that President Putin is ready to engage in these negotiations and is ready to meet with President Zelenskyy. Therefore, we welcome this change of mind of President Putin, and of course we wait to see the concrete steps that will be taken by Russia in finding a way to end this war by guaranteeing a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Other questions on this? Go ahead. And then we see if we can change topic, perhaps.
Thank you, Olga Kirillova, Telegraph UA. Yesterday, President Zelenskyy presented President Trump with a package of proposals to buy American weapon worth $90 billion. And the plan is for Europe, as I understand, to finance that purchase. So is there already any agreement between European allies to do such huge share purchase, and under which mechanism will it happen? Thank you.
This matter was not discussed at the multilateral meeting yesterday between European leaders, President Zelenskyy and President Trump, so I would not have a specific comment on it. In general, you know the efforts that we are bringing forward to maintain support for Ukraine, also military support, and also our SAFE program, and how we are trying to integrate our industries and advance defense spending and innovations together with Ukraine. I can only refer you to that at this stage. Still on this, go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much, Camille Gaze from Politico. I wanted to ask first whether you could clarify the Commission's line when it comes to a ceasefire. You just said that it doesn't matter as much whether it's a peace deal or a ceasefire. It's the effect that counts. It does seem like it's quite similar to the lines that President Trump struck yesterday. So just wanted to ask for a clarification there. And then my second question would be to know, does the European Union trust President Trump as a reliable mediator in this? And does the many leaders, European leaders that accompanied Zelenskyy yesterday shows a bit of fears when it comes to its intentions, to his intentions. Thank you so much.
Thanks. On the first question, the message for us is stop the killing. Anything that stops the killing is welcome. On the second question, President Trump is bringing forward efforts to lead to a just and lasting peace to Ukraine. The President herself has welcomed and thanked him for his engagement on this matter. The US administration is engaging with European leaders and with President Zelenskyy in defining what would be the key points of this just and lasting peace. The positions of the European Union are well known to President Trump, and therefore we thank him for his efforts. As I was saying, any step that will bring to meaningful negotiations will be welcomed by our side. David, a final question and then we change topic. Or I have Fatima online actually, so still.
Thank you. We saw in Alaska there was quite an interesting trade going on between, at a human level, between humans on both sides of the frontier, Russia and in Alaska. America has maintained very high level of sanctions at the government, commercial, financial level, but has allowed this sort of human contact to continue. And I wonder, seeing that Europe has a much larger frontier with Russia, whether it could be some easing up of the human level contacts, which would be useful for a peace agreement, and also show that the sanctions are against the government and not against the people, and would be good preparation for the future. Has any attention been given to easing the human level commerce, but whether it's food or various human contacts of families and so on, with between the European community countries and Russia?
Thanks, David. I'm not sure I understand the question completely. Perhaps colleagues can then intervene bilaterally with you later on exactly what are our regulations in terms of trade flows and in terms of, let's say, a possibility of transfer between the two countries. Let me just remind you that our sanctions are targeted. We sanction individuals that are on the list of sanctions for specific reasons that are very clear also to the Russian administration. And our sanctions are targeted to those sectors of the economy and of life that can harm most Russia's war machine. So this is the logic behind the sanction packages that we have adopted so far and that we will continue to adopt. As I was saying, we maintain our approach to Russia. We maintain our full pressure on Russia until this bloodshed ends. Fatima from remote. Fatima, if it's on this, please press speak. We cannot hear you. We see you now. Small improvement, but there's no audio, no. No, Fatima, apologies. It's not working. You're welcome to reach out later bilaterally then. Okay, I see no other question on this topic. Other questions for us on different matters. Go ahead. It will turn red eventually.
Hi. Technicalities are on holidays still. Janos Allenbach-Hammann from Table Briefings. I have a question on the strong euro and whether there's anything the Commission can do about it, because it reduces the competitiveness of exporters quite a lot, and especially the yuan has been devalued quite a bit. Is there any possibility for the EU to take countermeasures if another state devalues its currency and thus hurts European competitiveness? And if so, is the Commission prepared to take any such action?
Thanks. I'm looking at colleagues. In general, I believe that monetary policy is a matter for the European Central Bank, so it would be for them to answer on the tools that they have at their disposal. From our side, what we do to foster competitiveness is clearly diversified, and I think we have presented numerous packages in this mandate and the previous to support the European industry at these challenging times, but we wouldn't have a specific position on the value of the euro. If this was not the case, my colleague Balash will revert bilaterally. And lucky technicalities that are on holidays, because this is really a busy August. Other questions for us today? Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Elena Zagnat, Agora, Republic of Moldova. I have a question on enlargement. Volodymyr Zelenskyy said that there can be no division between Ukraine and Moldova. So what happens next in this situation, knowing that Hungary is blocking Ukraine? So will the first cluster be opened for Moldova, or are we waiting?
Thanks. My colleague Marcos can eventually step in, but I think we have always been very clear that enlargement is a merit-based process. We have conducted thorough assessments of the efforts that both Moldova and Ukraine have conducted in the past months and years to proceed with their enlargement path. We believe that Moldova is on track to becoming an EU member. Its future is in the European Union. We firmly stand by this principle. And we have seen that since the start of the negotiations in June 24, Moldova has made incredible progress, showing determination to deliver on the reforms that we have requested. Therefore, we have proposed for Moldova as well as for Ukraine to open the negotiations on Cluster 1. We consider that the conditionalities for opening negotiations on Cluster 1 have been fulfilled both by Moldova and by Ukraine separately, and now this decision is with the member states to decide on the opening of negotiations, but the Commission stands by its evaluation that both countries are ready to do so. Other questions for us? I will take from remote. If it's on enlargement, let's stay on enlargement for a moment. Sandor.
It's not on enlargement, it's energy security.
I think it's okay, because in any case, I don't see other questions on enlargement. So, Sandor, we come to you, and then we continue.
Okay, great. So, Ukraine admitted hitting the Druzhba pipeline on Russian territory, and this is effectively blocking oil imports to Hungary and Slovakia. Is the Commission concerned that this attack puts European energy security at risk or not? Thank you.
Thanks. Eva will join me for answering this question. I was starting to feel a bit lonely here, so happy to have some company.
For me, good afternoon. So on this question, we have no clear information who attacked the interconnector. However, we emphasize the importance of maintaining energy security. We are in touch with Hungarian and Slovakian authorities, and what is important, the suspension does not affect the security of supply, which is always a priority for the European Commission.
Thanks, Eva. Other questions on this matter specifically? Agath from remote? No, not on this? Okay, thanks a lot. Other questions for Eva on the files she covers while she's here with me? Not the case. Thank you. Other questions for us today on different topics? Yes, we come back to the press room then.
Thank you. I have a question for Olaf. So last week we understood on Thursday that the Trump administration responded to the EU when it comes to the joint statement. So I was wondering if the EU has responded since, and if he could give us a bit of a summary of the hold-up between the two sides. I may as well try. Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Camille. Yes, I can confirm that we have sent back the draft joint statement to the US, and political level contact between Commissioner Šefčovič and his counterparts, mainly Secretary Lutnick and Ambassador Greer, is ongoing. I can't say any more than that at this point. The work continues.
Other questions for Olof on this matter? Max, I see you have your hand raised from remote.
Sorry, it was the same question. Thank you.
Good, we already answered then. Other questions for Olof on the files he covers? Not the case. Thank you, Olof. Other questions for us today on different matters? I know I have a couple from remote, but I don't see them raising hands. So let's continue with the press room. We go to the back. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I got a question for context, and I think it's for Thomas. And I'll ask it in French. Donc la ministre française du numérique vient de saisir l'Arcom suite au décès d'un streamer en direct sur cette plateforme cette nuit, sur la plateforme Kik. Et j'aimerais juste savoir si vous avez déjà eu des contacts avec Kik dans le cadre du DSA, s'ils vous répondent, si vous avez trouvé un représentant légal dans l'UE pour la plateforme, et si vous avez vérifié le nombre d'utilisateurs européens du service, parce que le dernier rapport de transparence qu'on a couvre uniquement le deuxième semestre 2024. Merci.
Merci Thomas, il n'est pas là aujourd'hui, c'est Olof qui le remplace. Je ne suis pas sûre qu'on a les informations assez spécifiques sur les contacts avec la plateforme que vous avez mentionnée, mais on peut vérifier après et revenir vers vous.
Merci, c'est bien ça, on n'a pas les infos devant nous, donc on va vous contacter l'après-midi. Merci.
Other questions for us today? David?
Yes, I have a question on monetary policy. Monetary policy.
You can try asking. I'm not entirely sure Balázs will be in a position of answering, but we can try.
Okay, it's about the division between electronic money and cash. It was the Commission's policy to maintain cash as a means of exchange. For those of us who've been subject to the situation in Belgium where my computer's been taken and my bank account's been closed, one understands the importance of cash. And, for example, the canteen here is doesn't accept cash. And I'm wondering what progress is being made to maintain the level of cash for those who don't have access to electronics and whose property is still under the control of the police at this stage.
Thanks, David. This is a question, I believe, for Olof. I'm looking at him if he has an answer to offer immediately. I believe that we do have rules that are for member states to enforce, of course, but perhaps Olof can get back to you bilaterally later to recall what the current provisions are. Other questions for us today? I'm giving it a moment just in case. Does not seem to be the case. Therefore, I wish you all a very nice afternoon, and thank you for having participated. Interpreters, all the colleagues like always, and we will see you again on Thursday for our next midday briefing. Goodbye.